Got 5?
I think so. We've got D online.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right. Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to start our meeting today with the Board of Equalization. So I'll call that meeting to order. And we will begin with public comment. Now, this is for the Board of Equalization. If you're here for the County Council meeting, that will start in just a few minutes. So, is there anyone here who wants to speak to the Board of Equalization? Okay. And I assume our person online probably is not here for that as well. Okay. Perfect. So we'll go to item number 3.1. This is the acceptance of the Board of Equalization minutes for January 27th. And we have our auditor, Chris Harding's office, who is here.
You get me today. We're just seeking approval of the minutes.
So moved.
A second?
Second, sorry.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Harrison, a second by Board Member Pinckney. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. I'll also recognize we have Council Member Theodore online today. Thank you for being here. We'll go to item 4.1. This is the approval of assessor and hearing officer recommendations. Hi, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
The count for this week was 1,118. However, we are pulling a couple of parcels, parcel 2208233006 and 1513201004. One of those is resolved by stipulation and be on next week's agenda. And the other was we found some clerical errors we're fixing. So we have a count of 1,116 for which we seek approval.
Great. Are there any questions or a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Pinckney, a second by Board Member Harrison. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll go to item 5.1 of significant adjustments.
We have one. I'm happy to answer any questions about that. Otherwise, we seek approval of that one.
I need a motion for item 5.1.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Johnson, second by Board Member Harrison. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. And then we'll go to 6.1, late appeals.
Yes, we have 6 items that are on the attachment. The recommendation is that they should be dismissed for failure to meet the state tax commission guidelines for late appeals.
Okay. We need a motion for this.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion by Board Member Harrison, a second by Board Member Johnson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. And we'll go to the last item, 7.1. This is the recommendations on exempt property for tax year 2025.
Okay, we've got 4 parcels. The first one is a new application for a church bought a property, and that's for beginning June 16th of 2025. And then 3 are just parcel changes. So same intent, same owner, the numbers just changed.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
Second.
We have a motion by Board Member Pinckney, a second by Board Member Johnson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We will go ahead and adjourn the Board of Equalization meeting. Thanks, everyone. And we will start our Salt Lake County Council meeting for Tuesday, February. Oh, sorry. Out of practice. Thanks. We're going to hold for just a minute until we switch over. Good? All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the Salt Lake County Council meeting for Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. We'll call this meeting to order and would ask if Councilman Moreno would be willing to lead us. Oh, I asked you last week. We're going to ask if Councilman Johnson would be willing to lead us in the pledge. Thank you.
Everybody, if you would please repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with Thank you. All right, we'll now open public comment. And how many people are here to speak public comment? Okay, we'll do 3 minutes for each of you. If you'll just come up and state your name and tell us where you live, that would be great. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Martha Whittaker, and I thank you for your service as council members. I'm a retired school teacher and former professor from Utah State University, College of Education and Human Services. I recall clearly the pain that's spread through Cache Valley when ICE agents, in cooperation with local law enforcement, raided the Swift and Company meatpacking plant in 2006. Churches, schools, and community organizations rushed to the aid of families. Children were suddenly without a parent, some left at school trying to understand what was happening. Families comprised of both immigrants and citizens faced heart-wrenchingly impossible choices, traumatizing children who knew no other country than ours. Can you imagine this as your family story? Now I'm watching with deep dismay as ICE has received egregious amounts of federal money and a mandate that has pushed them into communities across the country and escalated the already existing unconscionable and illegal practices of racial profiling, denying constitutionally guaranteed due process, and terrorizing communities. These agents are soliciting the help of our local government workers to accomplish their federally imposed quotas and goals. Meanwhile, efforts to establish a large detention center to house the detainees has been appropriately reined in because of the hard work of outraged community members. Who are these detainees? The vast majority of those being detained came to this country at great personal risk, participating in good faith in our immigration system, which has been broken since its inception. As a group, their crime rate is lower than that of citizens of this country. Their economic contributions are a net gain for this country. These are clearly not the worst of the worst. Most importantly, they are our neighbors. We have a moral imperative to love them. Yes, to love them. And we are called to stand between them and the harm being perpetrated against them. As a member of this community, I beg you to cease and desist aiding and abetting this illegal, immoral process. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Hi.
Good afternoon, Council. First, I wanted to start out and just say thank you to the county library. They helped me make the shirt. The county library workers are incredible. Nothing goes to waste there, and this shirt was left behind. I guess someone kind of messed up on the embroidery, and so I was fortunate enough to make it a little bit better. So thank you, county libraries, and I too am here to speak on ICE. Recently, it's come out that the Sheriff's Department is cooperating with ICE to detain immigrants at their hearings in the courthouse. There's been a whistleblower that came out and said that this is unconstitutional. They've been asked to do unconstitutional things. The Sheriff's Department is going above and beyond to detain them in ways that are above their legal duty. I think it is very sad, and I hope that the Sheriff's Department will not cooperate with them above and beyond their legal duty. I don't want to use county resources or county buildings or county money to aid and abet this illegal institution. I know that a majority of our population here is Mormon. They go off to other countries and they bring these people back with them. And now they are letting them be taken. We know that it's not about doing it the right way, because if that were true, they wouldn't be at their immigration hearings. They wouldn't be detaining citizens, murdering them. So this is something that's very important to me and to a lot of people in our community, and I hope that you will agree to not use county resources to harm our neighbors, our loved ones, our community members. Carlos, I know you are an immigrant, and ICE is targeting people simply because of the color of their skin, the way that they speak, and it is important. So I ask that you please not use county resources to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanil. Hi.
My name is Jana Klein. I go out and I record ICE in the mornings, and I follow them. And what I've witnessed is that they're not after the worst of the worst. They violate and follow up on traffic stops. They sit at Mavericks and pretend like they're getting gas so they can profile people off the property and then pull them over. What our community deserves is more transparency. Everything that they're doing is they're trying to be secretive. It is happening right here in our neighborhood. Let me just remind you that 250 years ago, Utah used to be Mexico. This is their land. Just like this land was to the Native Americans. Found out yesterday that there's a new ICE facility in Orem, Provo. Didn't know that. I'm gonna be out there. And for all those that don't know my face, they will. They all know who I am at the ICE facility. They're all on my social media. But what irritates me is when I get calls from people that are too afraid to go to their court hearings. And they don't know who to reach out to. And I'm asking you, please, defund ICE. The whole community's in hysteria. Go out to West Valley, go out to the streets. It makes me so mad. I'm shaking. And I live this every day with my fellow Americans and citizens, and they're human beings. What I want to know is what cities are cooperating with ICE? What counties? The Sheriff's Department, are they working? They're working with ICE, that's great. At what cause? They're not after the worst of the worst, I've seen it. I have video proof. So, abolish ICE, fuck ICE.
We'd appreciate you watching your language when you speak, but thank you for sharing your comments. Hi, can you tell us your name and where you live?
Hi, my name is Luke Maines. I live in District 3, and I am a descendant of immigrants. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone in this room is to some degree or another. And I just want to speak out on behalf of the more recent immigrants and people who look like they may be more recent immigrants who've been targeted by ICE. I have heard council members on this council speak and say and confirm, at least I thought, that the county would not be cooperating with ICE in any capacity. So I'm very disappointed to hear that might not be the case. I hope that you will recommit to protecting all members of our communities, not just the ones who've had the privilege of being documented the way that we are. And especially, I hope that you'll protect the ones who are trying to go through the process and are being targeted for trying to do things the right way. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak? All right, we'll do one more here and then we'll go to our online.
My name's Karen Stagnero. I've been a resident of Salt Lake County for 32 years, I think, and never come to one of these meetings before. So, But I just wanted to just really quickly say, I'm just really concerned. I have not seen, either I've not seen it or ICE is ramping up here. And I'm just expressing my concern. I'm going to get more educated about the coordination between state and federal authorities. I just appealing to you to do whatever you can to protect our immigrants. Thanks.
Thank you. We need your name right here. Yep, thank you. Okay, looks like we have one more here, and then we'll go to the online. Two more.
Hello, and thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Anderson. I'm a resident of the county and the city. And I'm actually speaking today on behalf of a constituent who is a victim of violent crime and who, since that time, has become a dedicated advocate for public safety transparency here in Salt Lake County. After surviving a violent attack, this individual has committed themselves to closely monitoring local crime data because they understand firsthand that public safety failures affect real lives. Their work is now widely followed on X by thousands, and it includes daily in-depth data analysis of the Salt Lake County jail roster. Their work follows Utahns to understand who is being arrested, for what offenses, what they are being charged with, and how they are being caught and almost immediately being released back into the community. On February 10th of this year, the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office quietly removed critical identifying information from the public jail roster. That information includes the age of the offender, their race, their listed city of residence. When this particular constituent reached out to the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office, an employee cited, quote, privacy laws, end quote, as the reason for this redaction of information. When asked to provide a specific statute that requires the redactions, none was given at that time, and none has been given since that time. It has been over 2 weeks. At the same time, the average release rate for individuals arrested within the previous 24 hours exceeds 42%. On some days, that number is as high as 66% of criminals arrested and released almost immediately. Now, however, with significantly less public information attached to those bookings. We know that mugshots are already restricted under state law. However, now with the removal of basic demographic information and locale information, the public has even less visibility into who is being arrested and for what crimes. Arrest records are public for a reason. Transparency and public safety is foundational to accountability and to public trust. If a statute requires those redactions, it needs to be clearly identified. As a constituent, on behalf of myself and this person who is a victim of violent crime, I'm asking our county council to please exercise your oversight authority to require the Sheriff's Department to publicly identify what the legal justification is for these redactions.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we get can you give her your name? Thank you. All right. Thank you. We've got one more. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Thank you. My name is Bernie Hart, and I work with the homeless in Salt Lake City and have done so for years, and I have a problem. My problem is that I have a number of questions about how the city and county interact with the homeless and the services they provide. The services are wonderful. The services are needed. But my question is, all these programs were originally funded using the idea that they were untested because there was no data to support how effective they were, but they were originally funded based on the idea that they were evidence-based best practices, and many of these programs were funded 10 to 15 years ago. And I do not think Salt Lake County or Salt Lake City or the state of Utah have yet to see a bit or any evidence from an evidence-based program that the programs are actually helping people. That ain't right. Somebody has to have the courage to deal with the problem from a fact-based, evidence-based way, and in a system that actually measures outcomes. That is not happening. And that is causing a lot of problems for the people I work with. And it's not fair to waste the taxpayer dollars on programs that may help no one.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. All right, we will go to, thank you, sir. Your time
I'm
is
not
up.
done with my 3 minutes, I think. I have 3 minutes?
The buzzer just went.
Is it 3 minutes
beeper
up?
just went.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
You so much. We appreciate you being here. We'll now go to our online comments. We have Casey who's online. Casey, if you want to unmute. Tell us your name and where you live, please.
Awesome. My name's Casey O'Malley. I live in South Salt Lake, and I'm a licensed educator, and I work in schools in Salt Lake City. This is my first time giving public comment, so I might not get every detail right, but I'm coming to you, elected leaders and officials, because I'm concerned and I'm asking for clarity and help. First, I want to thank community leaders that I'm learning from. As someone said earlier, I'm still learning more. And these community leaders are encouraging our community to get engaged. And I think that's really important. So I'm deeply troubled by reports that beginning on February 10th, officers from ICE have been detaining immigrants who are attending scheduled hearings, as a lot of other people have spoken about. I understand that this, if I'm correct, is a state court facility, but regardless of what some of those rules are, what's happening in our city affects all of us that live here. I've heard reports of like court bailiffs supporting. And my biggest concern is that, one, the legality of that, but on a personal level, when people are afraid to attend court, it undermines our faith in due process, and that's not good for any of us, but also the humanity issues that are going on with it. Courts should be places where people can show up and trust the system will function fairly, and that's not happening right now. As a teacher and a mother and a family member of immigrants, this is personal. I work with students whose families are directly impacted by these events taking place in our city and state. And when fear spreads through our families and students, it shows up in our classrooms. Children carry the weight, our teachers carry the weight of supporting that, and it hurts all of us. I recognize that this council might not have control of certain parts of how our courts operate, but I'm asking you to be courageous and to use your voice and your leadership to seek transparency about what is happening in our court House, specifically the Matheson Third District Court, to communicate clearly with our residents and to advocate for policies that protect the trust in our public institutions and treat our neighbors and immigrants with respect and love that they deserve. They deserve that, and our community depends on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Casey. Who's our next person? Jefferson? Jefferson, you're up if you'll unmute.
My name is Jefferson Curtis, and I am one of the parents that was affected by the childcare closures. I was reading up on today's meeting agenda, and I noticed that there are going to be proposals to use the current childcare center sites to allow private entities to come in and do it, whether they're for-profit or nonprofit, and that there's potentially some coordination with Granite School District regarding Mill Creek. I want to express, first of all, that I'm glad that there's at least something happening. I want to express frustration that the program was prematurely closed before this was done. I mean, honestly, there should have been a transition, like an easy transition from county to nonprofit or private ownership of the program. That wouldn't have affected people's ability to get affordable quality childcare. I also want to express concerns about some of the language in it. While I do agree that the main focus of this should be on low-income families, I do want to express concern that the county. I don't want the county to rely on, I guess, the federal poverty level. It is a line that is completely out of date. It came up with it in the 60s. It doesn't take into account the cost of housing, transportation, childcare costs, medical costs. And then there's just a lot of information that's missing from it, and it doesn't give a complete picture as to what residents are dealing with. And so if you guys are going to go forward with this, I would encourage you to find a different standard that is more in line with reality. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is that the idea that any county law enforcement officer would be assisting ICE is horrid. I know that there are probably some legalities that they cannot get around, but honestly, the idea that people are showing up to their court hearings trying to do things the right way, and then they're just immediately taken off and thrown into one of those inhumane concentration camps where we know now, thanks to whistleblowers and others, that the conditions in those centers are completely inhumane. They're absolutely horrid. Generally, we're not even getting the worst of the worst. As has been stated before, we're getting people who are living their lives, who have families, who are working. And I think it's atrocious that we would even consider treating human beings like this. So please think about what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Jefferson. We appreciate that, and I think I can speak for the council that we agree with you on the poverty line being a litmus test for that. So, is there anybody else that we have online? Oh, Jessica, please, Jessica.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Oh,
yep, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. My name's Jessica, and I've basically grown up in District 4 my whole life, and I'm just here to speak about ICE and the child care centers. After hearing so much rhetoric about cutting taxes and fiscal responsibility, I have to ask, why would anyone rather fund a Gestapo-like terrorist group rather than funding the child care centers for working families? What's normal about being detained without clear due process? What's normal about families living in fear? We're supposed to be a country governed by laws and constitutional protections. Due process is not optional. Human rights are not conditional. History has shown us what happens when governments normalize dehumanization, and it's like we've learned nothing from the past. Do not use local resources to support ICE. Stand up for what's right. And I think it's outrageous that we even have to ask our representatives to do something Right. And speaking of outrageous, the closure of these childcare centers has been such a mess. Families have been left scrambling. Employees have to be paid to stay because they've basically been given a terminal diagnosis, but they're still expected to show up with a smile. And the communication that all the parents have received is reactive, it's not proactive. Like just this week, Parks and Rec sent out a survey asking families how they can help with this transition. And you know what? That survey should have gone out before the initial announcement was made, or at least the day of. Like when you announce closures first and ask questions later, it's clear the outcome was already decided without fully considering the impact. Understanding capacity, needs, and alternatives should have informed a decision and not follow it. And taxes are still going up while services are being eliminated. Like, make that make sense. Utah is known for families. If you truly care about families, then act like it. There are so many people willing to keep these centers open, so why aren't you working with everybody to find a solution? You can move forward with keeping these centers open and not using tax money. Like, anyway, just say yes to keeping these childcare center opens, say yes to due process, say no to policies rooted in fear, and say yes to families and keeping them safe together. Thank you.
Jessica, can we get your last name too for the record, please? And then the city you live in?
It's Ku, K-U.
And your city?
Cottonwood Heights.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. I think we have one more online. Two more online. Chantel, if you'll unmute, you're up. Hi, Chantel, go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Chantel? Okay, we'll go to Mackenzie next. Hi, Mackenzie.
One second. Let's see if this thing works. All right, great. Hi, my name is Mackenzie Miller. I live in Magna, Utah. And I think the thing I want to talk about today was just the kind of preying on immigrants outside of court hearings. Let's just unpack this for a second. That the people who, you know, let's just say that they're going for these criminals, illegal, whatever you want to call them, however you want to group that. Do you think that the people who are actually intent on breaking the law would actually go to their court case? No. So the people who are actually trying to live in America and do the right thing are being preyed on for doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then if they don't show up because they're afraid, now you have even more reason to go after them. So you force them to be criminals. So, well, not you force them, but, you know, I'm saying the collective we. So I just want that to be taken into account when you think about where you want to prey on people, you know, taking up people's kids from school. Is that criminal behavior where they want their kids to be safely picked up and taken home? Like, these are the type of things that people want to do and live here in America to do something great for their families, for themselves. And like another person has already commented, that they provide a bunch of things to American people and get none of the benefit. They don't benefit from Social Security. They don't benefit from Medicaid or Medicare because they're ineligible. They can't get welfare. They can't do all these things, but yet they're still here. And I think they personally like America. And so I think we just need to give them more opportunities, honestly. And I think that we need to stop criminalizing this type of behavior, because it's not even criminal. It costs more money to do all this stuff, hire all these ICE agents, make all these facilities, put all this work to make them travel around and grab all these people. How much money does that cost, instead of just saying, okay, just keep doing what you're doing and, you know, live and let live, you know? So that's all I have to say today. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mackenzie. All right. We'll go. Was it Chantel? Does she have a mic working now? Okay, Chantel, do you want to try one more time? And then you'll be our last commenter today.
If it's not her, there's also Ida. She's the last one.
Okay. All right, Chantel, I'm so sorry we can't hear you still. So we're going to go to Ida, and that's our last commenter for today. And then we're going to turn the time over to the sheriff right after this. Just, I know some of you had concerns about this, and I want you to be able to hear from our sheriff. So anyway, just want to let you know. Go ahead, Ida. Ada Paso? Can you unmute? Okay. All right. It looks like that concludes our citizen comment. I'm sorry for those of you who we couldn't hear, but feel free to email us. Okay, perfect. She's going to share our email with you, Chantel, if you want to email us any of your comments. Normally, we would go to our council members next. I just want to say we don't fund ICE. So from those who are doing the budget, I want to make sure that that's clear. That's something that the federal government's doing, not the county. But I know some of you had questions specifically about the sheriff's office. So I want to turn some time over to Sheriff Rivera if you want to speak and respond to any of those comments or questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I do have other updates as well, so I don't know if you want me to wait on those or give them after my comments regarding.
Probably just do the one addressing this, and then we'll go to council members, and then we'll have you back up. Okay. That would be great. Thanks.
So for the last couple of weeks, we've been dealing with this issue with ICE. For a long time, we did not have any complaints, but the last couple of weeks, we've received multiple complaints. I have been answering those complaints myself and calling as many people as I can. So if I miss someone, they can call me, and I will answer their questions. So the questions regarding ICE are either questions regarding our jail, which we have said we are not participating in any 287G programs with ICE. The other questions, the most recent in the last 2 weeks, have been regarding the courts. We contract with the courts, and we're obligated to follow their protocols while we're in the court. And they have protocols for these type of situations. We have asked them to take a second look at those protocols because there have been some issues with the way that it's being conducted. Part of the problem is ICE is showing up in court. They have no identifiers. They're in plain clothes. They're wearing masks. We don't know who these people are either. So it has become a problem. So one of the protocols that the courts have given us to abide by is that we do deal with the individuals who ICE are there to make an arrest, that we do our best to keep everybody safe. So there is a process that they came up with that we would escort ICE like we do any other agency that has a warrant for someone into the secure area, help them get down the secure area. The attorneys are allowed there. My understanding is there's a complaint that attorneys are not allowed in that area. They are allowed in a certain portion, but not allowed to walk completely down and out the courthouse. But there is an area that the attorneys can go. We had one complaint about a deputy who handcuffed an individual. That did occur. Every complaint we investigate. With that situation, between the judge and the deputy, they felt it was the most safest way because the ICE agent had no identifiers or anything. They were in plain clothes in the courtroom. The deputy followed what the judge said and did place handcuffs on that individual and took him to the secure area. We have put a stop to that and explained to the courts that puts us in a bad situation, so that should not be occurring. We're not there to do ICE's job. However, we are asking that ICE work with us in a sense that at least let us know when you're there. The second complaint that I am aware of and we're investigating is one of our deputies was in the court. He heard a scuffle outside the courtroom. He went out. He thought somebody was getting beat up. He later found that it was ICE trying to arrest an individual. One of the ICE agents got into a verbal altercation with our deputy, and the deputy did use some foul language towards her. We are addressing that issue, but I want you to understand these deputies are put in a really tough situation. And in this situation, I understand how he could get to that point where he had no idea who they were. And he was trying to make sure that somebody wasn't being assaulted at the time. So that's what our investigation has led to. So we're dealing with that one. And then we've had some complaints of deputies giving hand signals and eye contact with ICE. I can't confirm any of that. If somebody has a specific complaint, and I'm happy to look at it, but what I can tell you is we are obligated by law to work with ICE when they are lawful. And that's exactly what we will do, because that is the law. We do not have any legal authority to restrict ICE from courthouses. That is not my role as a sheriff. And the sheriff's office has no legal authority to interfere with federal enforcement actions either. So we are not going to interfere with those actions, but we are doing our very best to try to keep everybody safe, at the same time conduct the court. And we are working closely with the judges and the courts, and hopefully we can get this resolved. I'm reaching out to ICE as well to see if there's a better way. But at the same time, we are not there to do ICE's job, and they know that. But we're not there to hinder it either. So
Thank you.
I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you may have. And if anyone wants to reach out, they can also reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer any of the questions.
Perfect. Thank you. We will come back to you in a minute, Sheriff, for the rest of your report, but thank you for jumping in and doing that. I know there's people in the audience who are probably anxious to
And
hear.
I'm happy to talk to
to
them
say.
after I leave, do my other update, so.
Okay,
Thank
awesome.
you.
Hey, before we go to council member comments, I want to just do a quorum call because we now have our other council members online, if we can. Do you mind if we do our quorum call now at this point?
Councilmember Harrison. Present. Councilmember Johnson. Here. Councilmember Moreno.
Here.
Councilmember Pinckney.
Present.
Councilmember Romero. Not here. Councilmember, who's online?
Yeah, will you see if he's on as a panelist? Is he on? Okay, perfect.
Okay, he is here.
Yep.
Councilmember Stewart. Not here. Councilmember Stringham.
I'm here.
Councilmember Theodore.
Here.
Councilmember Wonder Newton.
Here. And Councilman Romero, will you just try your mic so we can make sure it works, please? He was worried about being able to have his mic work. If you can unmute Councilmember Romero, we'll test your mic. Okay. We'll check on that in a minute. Okay, thank you. Now let's go to Council. Oh,
Sorry, can you hear me?
yep, we can hear you. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll now go to council member comments if anybody wants to speak. Yes, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I am a public defender, and I am in the Matheson Courthouse Thursday and Friday every week. And these past 2 weeks have been difficult because I have seen ICE with my own eyes. The team members that I work with have shown and made me aware of ICE's dealings both in my courtroom directly, but also throughout Matheson Courthouse. And others within the public defender's office who are working there Mondays and Tuesdays, as well as on the Thursday and Friday rotations, have also seen ICE show up in the back of the courtroom without any identifiers, who then take individuals who are showing up for their court hearings. And I have heard an account of a witness being taken out and whisked away by ICE. That is a problem. That is a problem because these spaces used to be off limits, and that has changed as of late. I agree with the individuals who have come here to speak and say that we need to stand with our immigrant families. My record on that has been clear from the very beginning when I took this office and said so at a protest, at the No Kings protest. And I promise to this community that we are going to get to the bottom of this and figure out what is happening and why it is that ICE feels so bold. But I also need to tamp down people's expectations because as a county authority, we do not have the ability to tell the federal government to back off. We do not have the ability to get ICE out of our community as much as I don't want them here. We do not have that authority. The sheriff does not have that authority. The courts do not have that authority. But what we can do is make sure that we are not going above and beyond our duty to assist ICE in doing what I believe is unlawful enforcement actions against a community that doesn't deserve this. I also query whether or not ICE is doing its job in our courthouses with proper authority, considering that many times they are there to arrest people under their own administrative warrants as opposed to judicial warrants. As an attorney, the distinction matters a great deal. One is a warrant that's signed off by a judge that indicates an individual has had probable cause to determine they've committed a crime and therefore can be arrested. The other is just someone else who's a higher person in ICE saying, arrest this guy. I don't know that we have any reason to be helping ICE effectuate its administrative warrants based off of their own hearsay and their own say-so. Like the members of the community who are confused and wanting to know more information, so do I. I hope that we will have public information available to give to the public about what exactly it is ICE is up to and how we can at least come up with a system that makes it so that at least we are not aiding and abetting ICE and doing its work. That's not our job, and never should be. I then also want to address sort of another side of this from Ms. Anderson, who came and spoke and talked to us about how the sheriff's office is releasing individuals into the public who are criminals and that we're not getting accurate information. And also as a public defender, I can say that that narrative is wrong. It is not true that the sheriff's office is just sending out criminals into the public willy-nilly and letting the individuals that I represent who have been accused of very violent crimes, very serious sexual-based crimes, or anything like that, just waltz into the jail and then waltz back out. I know that that narrative exists in this county, and it is not correct. She quoted numbers about how many people are being released into the public when they are being arrested, and those people largely are accused of very low-level crimes, B misdemeanor crimes, A misdemeanor crimes. But if you've committed a felony, you're accused of a felony, and Chief Dumont has said this many times when he comes here and talks about what's happening at the jail and the amount of people who are being released. No one is being overcrowded released. That hasn't happened for nearly a year now. And also, on top of that, people who are accused of very serious crimes are not being released. You can go to the sheriff's website and look at the tracker and just see how many individuals are currently being held. And I think it's important to correct narratives that misguide the public about what is actually happening with crime in this county. Salt Lake County is very safe. A large part of that is because the sheriff keeps people who are dangerous off of the streets. And even though it is my job as a public defender to fight for those individuals in court and fight for their rights and their constitutional abilities to the best of my ability, it is important for people to understand that the hundreds and the thousands of people that my office represent, most of them are behind bars and have no hope of actually getting out because they're being held. They are not just being released into the public by the sheriff's office. I think it would be a grave disservice to allow that narrative to sit here in front of the public without someone who works in that system addressing those points publicly. That's the extent of my comments. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak? Go ahead, Suzanne.
I just wanted to thank the members of the public who came today, give public comment on an assortment of issues. And I just want to let you know that I share many of the concerns about some of the constitutional violations that may be occurring. I've reached out to all of our congressional federal delegation and asked them to do their job to make sure they are being that co-equal branch of government and being a check on potential constitutional violations or unlawful behavior. So please know that I take those concerns very seriously and those potential violations of the Fourth Amendment, several other amendments of our Constitution that we all uphold and hold dear. I also wanted to just change topics a little bit and mention a big thank you to Maddie Plowman, who is having her last week in the mayor's office. Huge thank you to her for her service to the county, to our residents, and also a thank you to Katie Fleury, who will be filling in as the council liaison, interim council liaison. So thanks to Katie, and best of luck to Maddie.
I also want to reiterate the comments of my colleagues. I have a lot of feelings about the current status of our country, and I'm grateful for the activists who go to our courts to observe, those who go on the street to protest, keep speaking out and keep recording and keep letting us know. As stated, we will continue to investigate whatever is going on. I am a big supporter of oversight when it comes to public safety and use of force, not just at a local level, but also at a national level. And I believe that this time is one of the most important historical human rights time, not just in our generation, not just for our country, but us as human beings. And I think how we respond in our everyday, whether it be our job, history will be reflective of that. And I am appreciative of the comments that were made about history, because history can tell us our future, and it will tell us what we will repeat and what we are currently repeating. As stated, we do not fund ICE, and there's a lot of support to make sure that we do not work with ICE, and we continue not to work with ICE. I don't believe they should be in our county. I don't believe any detention center should ever be in our county or our state. And I believe that this operation is just targeted based off of people's color of their skin and their nationality. And while they might not come for you and your community, when you allow one person to be taken, you allow yourself to also be taken by the government. And while my family doesn't come from immigrants, they come from enslaved people who were taken by governments, assigned to another government, and forced labor on themselves. And that is happening to people right now in our country. So if you are not a proponent of inhumane human rights, slavery, torture, sexual assault, you should not support this initiative, no matter what your job is. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else want to speak? Okay, that concludes our council comments. We'll go to the mayor's office. Do you guys have anything for us today?
Yes, we have an update for you today. So I wanted to just say thank you to everyone. I don't know if you saw the results, but we were voted in the top 10 of planetariums in the United States by USA Today, and we're actually number 3. So I think we just got a bronze medal in planetariums. But I'm really excited that everybody participated and supported our planetarium. It's a beloved county facility, and they do such great science education and really inspire kids to get engaged in science. So proud of our team and proud of everyone who helped us achieve that. As it relates to systemic coordination, last week we partnered with Valley Behavioral Health on a groundbreaking for a 68-bed permanent supportive housing facility that will offer higher level mental health service supports. Expected to be completed in late 2027, this project complements our systemic reform efforts. The behavioral health and justice reform recommendations that we partnered with Judge Leifman and his team on, Judge Leifman. I got to get out of my 1980s Leif Erikson or whatever that guy's, Leif Garrett. I always say the wrong name. I apologize. That we developed in conjunction with the Leifman Group will be shared with key stakeholders during a noon webinar this Friday. We're thrilled to roll this out and sincerely appreciate the council's partnership and participation in the creation of these recommendations. And we look forward to working with you to bring this and then the recommendations to fruition to improve our systems. We hope you can all make the meetings, and regardless of whether or not you can, there will be a recording of that meeting for you to watch and also to pass on to anyone who's interested in learning more.
Parks and Recreation is having a temporary closure of our Gene Fulmer Recreation Center in West Jordan to do some significant maintenance, due over time. Our pools will be closed from February 23rd through March 8th, and the entire facility will close down March 2nd through March 8th. There's information online about this in the center and can be shared with any member of the community that you feel would want to know that information. We've shared some information in some of our previous reports, but I want to reiterate just a couple. The Welcoming Salt Lake Strategic Plan survey is still open through March 6th. You can log on and participate in that survey at slco.to/welcoming. We encourage everyone to participate in this program. The new point of sale system for Parks and Rec launched yesterday. It's been a huge lift for our team, and we look forward to seeing how it improves our residents' experiences. Even more improvements will be coming in later phases, but we're very excited to be brought into the 21st century as it relates to Parks and Rec programs. Lastly, the active spreading of measles in Salt Lake County is a concern for all of us. The health department is encouraging people to get vaccinated or to stay home if they have symptoms, which can mimic a cold or the flu. I hope we can all do our part to keep others safe. Thank you all.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll go back to the sheriff for any other updates. And I don't think I see any other of our independent electeds here. Am I missing anybody? Okay, just wanted to recognize them if they were. So go ahead, Sheriff. Thank you.
Just wanted to update you. In August of 2024, we had a major homicide, Mount Olympus homicide. And I just wanted to let you know, one of the individuals that was involved was a juvenile, still is, was convicted yesterday in court and will be sentenced for murder and aggravated assault and a felony discharge of a firearm. So a lot of work has gone into this case, and I just want to thank our investigators for all the hard work that they have done, and our forensics unit as well. And then this last weekend, well, actually last week, last Thursday, our SAR, Search and Rescue Team, assisted Unified Police Department on a backcountry avalanche where an 11-year-old was killed in that avalanche. Just wanted to let you know that they did assist on that. And then this weekend was quite the weekend for avalanches. And unfortunately, they all come in at once. So we had multiple avalanches, but the one in Butler Fork, there were 2 individuals who were swept up in the avalanche. And fortunately, there were some other skiers there that witnessed it. They were able to dig them out and save their lives. Their lives were saved by these individuals. And I also want to thank our DPS partners. They were able to bring in a helicopter, hoist these 2 victims out of the area, and brought them safely to where UFA and our search and rescue team could administer medical treatment to these individuals. And one is still in critical condition. The other one was in serious condition, but I believe he has been released. And then we had another call out for SAR on an injury on a trail. That individual made it out safely. And then in Grizzly Gulch, there was also another injury where somebody was in critical condition with the femur fracture, and our teams were able to get them out. And again, I want to thank all of the same individuals and add AirMed and University of Utah Hospital to the thanks for those individuals who are being rescued off the mountain. Just want to point out that we have done multiple news stories and Facebook posts on how to be safe in the canyon, and it's just a reminder it can change very quickly, and we just ask the community to pay attention to those indicators of what the Avalanche Center is putting out, and make sure you're safe when you go out on these, and we'll continue to respond. Just wanted to give kudos to all those individuals. And then lastly, I want to just recognize our Public Safety Bureau deputies. They are in a tough situation right now with this ICE at the courthouses. They're doing their very best because they do work for two different masters, really. They work for the sheriff's office, but they also work for the courts. So I just wanted to give them kudos because they have been able to manage this the best that they can, and we have not had anybody injured. So just want to make sure that we continue following the rules and making sure that any time that we are engaging with ICE that it is lawful. And hopefully people can understand the situation that we're all in right now. So thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me while I'm up here? Anybody? Nope. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Okay, we will now go to our consent items. Is there a motion for consent?
Yes, sorry, give me just a moment. Yes. Madam Chair, I move for, sorry, nope. Madam Chair, I move approval of consent of items 4.1 through 7.2. I think that's everything.
Yep. Second. Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Johnson, a second by Councilwoman Harrison. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay. Any opposed? All right, thank you. The consent agenda passes unanimously. We'll now go to our work session and invite Juan Nguyen, our council budget and policy analyst. Hello.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The last 2 weeks, we have 47 positions listed. We also have one incentive plan from Mayor's Finance for $2,250 for the Employee Wellness Program Coordinator to act as an interim program manager for the wellness program until the position is filled. There are 3 reclassifications from the Treasurer's Office. They reclassify an incumbent taxpayer care specialist to a Treasurer IT specialist, same grade, but move from the general plan to the trade plan. They also reclassify an incumbent Treasury accountant to a special projects accountant administrator, same grade. Parks and Rec reclassified a vacant construction maintenance specialist 1 to a construction maintenance specialist 2, 1 grade higher. Does the council have any questions on those?
Questions?
Okay, I will move on to budget adjustment 8.2. The library service requests authorization to establish about $59.1 million in anticipated bond funding for the following projects. $9.3 million is for the final payment for the Kearns Library New Market Tax Credit project. $15.9 million is for the library operations building purchase and improvement. $4 million is for the Sandy Library updates, and the remaining about $40 million is for the West Valley Library new building. That amount is inclusive of about $10 million contributed by the library partner. And additional details about this project will be presented a little bit later in item 8.9.
Questions?
I move to approve.
Well, we actually,
Unless we have,
well,
or are we doing, are we waiting until?
no, you can go ahead and do a motion. Yeah.
Sorry, I
Sorry.
motion that we approve the $59,146,000 anticipated funding for the enumerated projects.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Johnson. Councilwoman Pinckney, did I hear you second? Okay, perfect. Are there any questions or comments on this? This is obviously something that we've talked a lot about as a council. We have been anticipating this for the last several years as part of the plan for the library services. And so this is not a sudden, quick decision. We've been talking about this for a long time. So is there anybody online who, go ahead, Councilwoman Stringham, please.
Yeah, I was just really quickly wanted to kind of just verify that this is what's in our current budget, this is what we've already approved, and this is what we're looking to bond to pull out of what's in the library budget currently. I understand that correctly, right?
Can you ask that one more time? We couldn't hear you.
Do you mind repeating that question one more time?
I was just asking, on this is the payments for these that we're talking about right now, is specifically for coming out of the budget that we currently have for the library. It was my understanding that that's what this is going to pay for these things, correct?
So the 59 million we're talking about is the bond, the anticipated bonds proceeds. And out of all the projects I mentioned earlier, there was 15.9 million that is for library operations, building purchase and improvement. Last year, the council approved the 12 million to purchase the building. So 12 million will reimburse the library fund balance because last year they upfront that money to pay for the purchase.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote on this item. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. 8.3 is another budget adjustment from library services. In this adjustment, they request to establish a project budget of about 26.9 million for the design and construction of a new library in Midvale. Of that amount, 2 million is from the library fund balance to cover some upfront cost for design and programming. The remaining 24.9 million will be financed through bond proceeds with anticipated new market tax credit funding expected to be about 3 to 5 million in net subsidy.
Any questions?
I don't want to jump the gun again.
Go ahead.
All right, then. I move to approve the $26,851,000 in new market tax credits for the design and construction of the new library in Midvale.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Johnson, a second by Councilwoman Harrison. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. In 8.4, so the planetarium has been awarded $20,000 for the Air We Share grant from the Association of Science and Technology Centers. And in this budget adjustment, they request to recognize the grant revenue and align the related expenditures with grant requirements.
Any questions on this?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Pinckney, second by Councilman Johnson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously.
That's all I have. The last budget adjustment will be presented by HR and Community Services.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Hua. And we'll have Robert Sampson, Community Services Associate Deputy Department Director, come up. Thank you.
And Sharon Rue, please.
Sharon, please. Sharon Rue, the Human Resources Director, is also here. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Council. This budget request for $147,749 is for one-time funding for a lump sum payment for the licensed daycare staff, the ones that were impacted by the closure of the program, for continued operations of the child care centers through May of 2026.
Great, thank you. And I assume whatever you don't end up spending of this just goes back to the general fund, right?
That's correct. This is an absolute ceiling. I don't imagine we'll hit all of it, but
Okay, great. And I know, council, we've talked about this before. Does anybody have a motion on this or any other comments?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Pinckney, a second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, moving along, we're going to go to item 8.6. This is consideration of legislative intent for the use of county-owned childcare spaces prioritizing low-income families. And this is an agenda item I'm bringing forward with the help of Councilwoman Stringham. As you remember, we went through our budget deliberations at the end of the year and made the decision that it would be best if the county was not in the business of providing daycare because there was a subsidy attached that property taxpayers were paying for, and it wasn't something that would be easy to scale up. But as we got looking at, we do have these facilities still. For instance, the Granite School District facility, we actually as a county help pay to put some of the improvements in there. And so seeing that we do believe that there are additional childcare spaces needed, and we don't want these spaces that are appropriate to be used for childcare to go to waste, this legislative intent basically directs the mayor's office to consider the different spaces and evaluate them for continued childcare use. I know the mayor's staff is already working on this. We've been talking about it for a while, since December, well, even before then when we started talking about closing our daycare program. We've had different partners who have approached us, and we just it's good for the council to be able to weigh in on this decision, and that we want to give direction here. And so we're basically looking for partners who we want to have them prioritizing low income and vulnerable families. So it wouldn't necessarily apply to the existing families of these daycares because if we enter into a lease agreement, they're going to get to make the decision on, how they decide which clients they serve. But we are putting an emphasis on those are the kinds of partners we're looking for, people who are looking to help some of our more vulnerable families. And we also recognize some of these facilities may not work for childcare. We have some where there's been talk of selling the building because of deferred maintenance and some of the other issues there. But we will have those evaluated by the mayor's office so that we can then see what's next and how we can do that. I also will just pass along, I've talked to Granite School District, and they are looking at using that space for the same purpose, which I think is great. And so we will continue to have those conversations. So with that, I'm going to read the legislative intent and then see if Councilwoman Stringham wants to also share her thoughts. It is the legislative intent of the council that the existing county-operated childcare spaces located in the Magna, Kearns, and Northwest Recreation Centers be evaluated for continued operational use as childcare facilities. Potential operators could include nonprofit, educational and governmental, or commercial childcare providers. As part of this evaluation, the county shall identify potential private sector, nonprofit, or educational operators interested in utilizing the spaces for licensed childcare services. Potential respondents should be asked to develop clear proposals for prioritizing vulnerable and low-income families who live in Salt Lake County. Potential respondents should also be required to demonstrate their ability to pay rent, inclusive of fully loaded costs, including ongoing operational and maintenance expenses. The council further intends that the county coordinate with Granite School District to evaluate and develop plans for utilizing the existing county-operated childcare space located in Mill Creek, with the additional goal of prioritizing childcare services to low-income families per Granite School District criteria and requirements. The County Council recognizes that there are varied childcare needs throughout the county and supports new providers utilizing these existing spaces to help vulnerable families. And I'll just add, the thing I love about this is that we are able to use these spaces. We have existing facilities where this will this can be helpful. But also this will not be a burden on property taxpayers, because doing it this way means that they're going to pay a lease rate that's fully costed. It means it includes operations and maintenance. And so I think this is a great win-win for both taxpayers as well as the community overall, where we do need more childcare spaces. So with that, I'll go to Councilwoman Stringham to see if she has any comments, and I appreciate her being the second on this.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is a really important move for us to look at the spaces that we have available and look at public-private partnerships, which is something that we actually do really well when we start looking at who it is we should be partnering with and how we can get the best bang for the buck for the taxpayer to make sure that they're not having to pay for services and things that we could partner with and work with nonprofits and other entities to be able to do. So I'm really excited to see us really analyze this, look at it, and move forward with this and meet the needs of those who need daycare right now. So thank you.
Thank you. If the council doesn't mind, we will, we've had a request to hear 8.7 as well and vote on these together, because we feel like they go really well together in supporting our community. So with that, I'm going to turn to my colleague here, Councilmember Johnson, to talk about 8.7.
Yes. So thank you, Madam Chair. So we wanted to also look at what our summer programming can do if we were to broaden that and see whether or not summer programming that's available countywide to all of our residents, rather than those that are currently using our childcare resources, what that might look for. We know that there are a lot of families in Salt Lake County that during the summer, when families are still working but kids are no longer in school, that is a desperate time when parents need a place for their kids to go to keep their minds engaged, to keep them involved in activities, and to provide a safe place for their kids to continue to develop until they go back to school. So we are also putting forward legislative intent that directs the mayor's office to provide an analysis of the financial feasibility of that ability of us bringing that program across the entire county, at making sure that any expansion would be revenue neutral as far as our general fund and would be supported through the tuition or the fees that the families pay for the privilege of using those services. And we're hopeful that we'll have a report back from the mayor's office by the end of March. Hand in hand, I think this goes a long way to providing a solution for the families that need childcare in Salt Lake County. This represents a serious effort from both parties after what we have gone through during the budget process in daycares and seeing just the difficulties that family have expressed to us, but then us as a council trying to respond to that in kind and provide solutions, working bipartisan between the parties with these legislative intents that will hopefully also result in policy that gets to those goals. So I want to read the legislative intent and then give Councilmember Harrison an opportunity to then do the same. Give me just a moment while I pull up what our legislative intent is. Give me just a moment. I actually have it right. I have it right here. So this legislative intent is titled County Child Care Licensure for Summer Programming Options. It is the legislative intent of the Salt Lake County Council that the Division of Parks and Recreation evaluate the feasibility of utilizing the county's youth recreation programming and analyze expanded tuition-supported summer programming options. This analysis should also explore providing countywide access to summer programming for county residents, including a full cost recovery financial model that does not include property tax revenues or general fund dollars to subsidize the program. Many Salt Lake County families, including those affected by the recent decision to close county-operated child care centers, struggle to find affordable child care solutions during the summer months when school is not in session. The council seeks to explore if tuition-supported summertime programming can help fill this gap for families throughout the county. The Division of Parks and Recreation should prepare this analysis and report back to the County Council by its scheduled meeting on March 24th of 2026. Councilmember Harrison.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I'm really proud to be one of the sponsors of this. I deeply care about supporting working families, and there are so many families that are struggling throughout our county, and working to offer more programming and a safe place for kids to be in the summer when there's often a gap and a stressor on families when school's out of session will help families throughout the county. And I'm really excited by that prospect. I will continue to support working families and however I can, and I'm grateful for the work that's been done on both of these.
Thank you very much. Before we go to the vote, is there anyone else who would like to make comment? Okay, well, I need a motion.
Amy, if it's
Yeah,
okay,
go
I'd
ahead.
love to actually move that we approve both of these resolutions.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Stringham.
Second.
Second by Natalie. Okay, second by Councilwoman Pinckney. We'll go ahead and vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone. This has been a lot of hard work. I know, man, that budget session was not very fun for anyone. And we, I really appreciate how this council has come together to look at solutions, and we appreciate the mayor's office for helping us with that as well, and just looking at how we can balance the need for childcare spaces with also recognizing that property taxes are hard to come by, and we want to respect our property taxpayers as well. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
may I? It's Erin over here.
Oh,
Sorry.
hi. Sorry. Hi, Erin.
Hi. I just wanted to request if we could have final copies of both legislative intents sent to us so we can provide those to our task force who's working on bringing you the answers you need.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item 8.8. This is our legislative session update by Kara Trevino. And we'll turn the time over to you. We do have a time certain at 3:30.
Oh, okay.
So I may stop you in the middle if that's okay, and we'll do that. Okay, perfect. Thanks.
So, and I am going to go out of order. I tried to put these in order as well as I can, but if we could go to House Bill 576 first. It's Child Welfare Timeline Compliance Amendments. So this is Representative Perucci. It addresses parental rights termination proceedings, and it's going to impact our indigent defense costs. So if Neil is here, he can come up and talk about our concerns.
I'm sorry, Kara, which House bill is that?
House Bill 576.
Okay. I see.
Got 11 down.
On the first page.
You see Lauren.
Oh, Lauren has it up.
Okay.
And yeah, and this just came out last week, so it's probably the first you're hearing of it, and it might be moving fast. We're not quite sure what's happening with committee at the moment, but it does a couple of things. I won't get into too much into the legal implications, although I'll touch on them briefly. The biggest concern I have for Salt Lake County are the financial implications of this. This bill does two things. It speeds up the timeline for these termination proceedings, which I will note are already happen quite quickly. And most concerningly, it does not allow for extensions of those timelines, even if both parties are stipulating to that extension. And if one or the other attorney is not able to move forward with the timeline, it requires the county to provide alternative attorneys. That we don't, this is one of the few places the DA's office does not actually prosecute these cases. This is an attorney general function. So we wouldn't be affected on the prosecutorial side, but we are required to provide defense resources for these. To do that, we employ one law firm and about 6 independent contractors for conflict cases. I have a couple of concerns. One, I just think this is bad policy. If there's a reason that both sides of a court case are asking for an extension, there's usually a good reason. If it's one side or the other, the judge already has the authority to hold that other side to the timeline. So in a situation, I think this really binds both the court and parents who find themselves in this situation, as well as the state, quite frankly, which just strikes me as bad policy. But more specifically for Salt Lake County, this could be a resource issue for us. we would potentially be put in a position with almost little to no notice, literally days, of trying to find alternative defense attorneys for this. And I don't know, with these faster timelines, it's unclear to me how often this would happen, but there would be some cost. But even if you put that aside, and we had the money to pay for it, we also have a capacity issue. There is one firm and one firm only that specializes. These cases are highly specialized. As all of you are aware, Councilmember Johnson is a criminal defense attorney, so am I. We are a dime a dozen. There are many, many of us in this state, and it is pretty easy to...
We're not that common. But.
It is pretty easy to go out and find criminal defense attorneys. The folks who practice in this area are quite specialized. There are not that many of them. We employ the only firm in the state that that does this for our primary contract. And last time I went out to RFP for our conflict contracts, we needed 6, and we had 6 applications, which indicates to me that even if we had the resources, it may be difficult for us to just find folks who are competent to handle these cases. So for those reasons, I would request permission from the council to take a position to oppose this bill, at least as it's written now. If anyone has any questions, I can try to answer them.
Neil, how many, which firm is it that we use?
Locken and Putnam.
Okay, I thought so. And
yeah.
How many attorneys does Locken employ just for this portion of?
They employ approximately 9 attorneys. They have some folks who are in leadership positions who have a smaller caseload, but approximately 9. If I'm being frank, I think this is a little bit less, it would be a strain on them. I don't want to do that, but at least they would have other attorneys who could fill in. I'm most concerned about our conflict attorneys, who are often either solo practitioners or part of 1 or 2 person firms.
And so you would anticipate an increase in both the conflict contract, but also for Locken?
Yes, potentially it could, in terms of the budgetary aspect of it, it could increase both, because the workload for both could increase as a result of shuffling around these cases. There's almost a multiplying effect if you now are requiring us to pay not 1 attorney to handle a case, but 2 or potentially more to handle a single case as it moves its way through.
Other questions? Okay.
I would say we vote to oppose.
Okay, I have a motion to oppose. Second?
Second.
Second, we have Councilman Johnson with the motion and Councilwoman Harrison with the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, we have 1 in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll start from the top now. House Bill 544, County Land Use Authority Amendments. Hopefully Zach is on. This bill has been discussed at UAC and through a policy steering committee as well as the legislative committee. It is Representative Chevrier. It requires a county to accept and process a plan review application for a single-family dwelling on a qualifying parcel that is not part of a subdivision. Zach can add, but the concern that has been expressed is it's just too broadly written and might have some unintended consequences all throughout the state. It's to fix some specific problem in Utah County. And so, Zach, I don't know if you want to add that, but I would recommend that we oppose and maybe figure out during the interim on a solution.
Yeah, this is Zach in the DA's office. I agree with that approach and that summary. I think we're a ways away from getting to consensus on this one.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
I move to oppose.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Pinckney. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Sorry, guys, I was too fast. All right, any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously to oppose. Thanks.
Okay, and Zach, if you can just stay there, I won't go out of order so that everyone doesn't get confused with the order I put these in. We'll cover House Bill 551 quickly. Government Records Access Amendments. Representative Shepherd. This bill prohibits a person who is the subject of a records request from classifying responsive records, participating in the entity's review or response. What she might be after is okay, but it's just that if you can't talk to the person to get the records from them, that is problematic. I talked to Mitch about it. I don't know, Mitch, if you want to add anything. I don't think we oppose the not allowing someone to classify the record, but you need to be able to allow staff to communicate with the people that have the records that they're requesting.
I think that's exactly right, Kara. My read of the bill was that it contained a couple of provisions of that kind that would have made compliance and response to grandma, I think, very practically difficult to achieve, at least when you're reaching out to a participant who might have a record, and if they have any involvement in the review, this bill would prohibit them from being involved, and I'm not quite sure how that would work practically. And then I think there are related issues that the bill limits the ability of your appeals officer to be the subject of the record or to be involved in it. And I think that at a minimum would require us to radically change our own internal practices and policies on grandma compliance. And so I certainly understand where the transparency and the desire to avoid conflicts of interest is something that's significant, but the practical way that this bill structures it, I think, would be very difficult for us to comply with.
Yeah. So, I think we should oppose as written, but work, if it proceeds, work probably through UAC to make it more workable and practical.
I'll just say, as someone who needs to use grandma as a public defender, it is very frustrating when one of our public entities has deemed themselves, hey, guess what? We think that this record is protected for these reasons. I'm like, well, I think there are amendments to the Constitution that might say otherwise. And then, so I understand what the bill sponsor is trying to do. It's the rest of this that is very difficult. Like not being able to communicate and then have an amicable way of working that out. That would be incredible, even more frustrating and create more problems than it would solve. So I would move to oppose.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Johnson, a second by Councilwoman Harrison to oppose this bill. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Okay, the next one I think we can support. So House Bill 565, City Library Property Tax Amendments. So Salt Lake City and Murray worked with our auditor's office. There was an issue with being able for those cities to put their library mill levy on the tax notices. So this bill will allow that to happen next year. It passed out of committee this morning unanimously, and it was put on consent. So I think this is an easy one to support.
I'm happy to move support.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by who was the motion?
Or you can do it.
Oh, Laura. Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Stringham, second by Councilwoman Harrison. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, great.
Okay, so this next one just recently came out. It's a pretty significant bill, House Bill 596, Homelessness Amendments. And that's why I'm phoning a friend that's coming up behind me. I'm just going to let Catherine cover it.
Takes a village. So this bill, there's a lot to it. It's a big bill, and it does impact folks a lot of different ways. But for Salt Lake County, it creates a funding mechanism up at the state level, which is a restricted account, which potential new funding can be put into that account, and then it's accessible for counties to have access to that funding if we create our own restricted account. So any funding that we put towards some efforts can be leveraged at the state level, and it's a use of mechanism to do the funding source. What we do want to be sure is that it's new funding and we protect that funding that has already existed at the state level to support the operations of our current services. And so there's other components of the bill. Creates modifications to our Code Blue efforts. That has been done actually in partnership with our operators. So there's been some really good conversation going back and forth, increases the threshold of a temperature, offers some flexibility on The dates before and after, 2 days before and after of when a code blue can still be enacted, even if the weather changes. It creates a code red, which wouldn't impact our county as much. It would impact other counties, especially the warmer ones down south. And really, it does impact municipalities. So the state would actually prohibit municipalities from imposing capacity limits in some shelters. And so working on that and working with operators to ensure that there's funding if they are operating at the capacity levels, if they are increased, would be important too. So there's some things to look at and to talk through, but the sponsor's been extremely open and I think wanting to listen to everybody who is impacted by this bill.
Okay. I would move we give support on this.
Yeah.
Second.
And third.
All right. We have a motion and a second by Councilman Pinckney and a third by, should we add that in?
I don't think that really counts on the record.
He really likes this one. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We're supporting that bill.
Okay, now we're back to Zach Shaw, Senate Bill 284. It's called Local Land Use Modifications. It's Senator Fillmore. I don't know which substitute it's on now, but this is different than the original bill that came out. The original that came out was problematic in a lot of ways. But now this has kind of become the Land Use Task Force bill where the cities and counties and the Property Rights Coalition get together and figure out the land use places that there's conflict on. I think they're still working through some things, and Zach can highlight maybe where there's consensus or what the issues are that they still need to work on.
Yeah, this is Zach with the DA's office again. So yeah, the areas of consensus have to do with planning commission functions, recommendations, training, removal. Also have to do with land use application checklists. Let's see, appeal authorities and legislative bodies not being able to serve as appeal authorities, which is not a problem we have in Salt Lake County. We have our own appeal authority. So those are the areas of consensus that exist. There's a couple areas that we're still working on consensus, namely the burden of proof on appeals we're still working through, and also what reasonable diligence to keep plats from expiring looks like. So still negotiating those ideas. So I would just recommend monitoring that one at this point.
Okay. All right. Anyone want to make a motion on that or ask any questions?
Motion to monitor?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to monitor by Councilman Pinckney, second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Okay, thanks, Zach. Okay, Senate Bill 306, Special Districts Modifications. This is Senator Collimore. So this bill, how it's being characterized is that it allows counties to be on the same footing as a municipality to withdraw from first responder districts. So some people confuse it with our SLCo withdrawal language. I'll just tell you it's very different. What it does is it allows the county to take out its unincorporated area, but you have to go through feasibility study, has the impacts on the district. The district board would have to agree to let you out, or your unincorporated area could vote to get out. So it's pretty cumbersome process. So it passed out of committee. I don't know that we support or oppose. Maybe we support being on the same footing, but it doesn't solve our issue is what I would say.
Kara, when it says first responder district, would that be things like unified fire as opposed to SLCo?
Yeah, I would let Bridget, it's
sorry.
confusing to me because our fire district and law enforcement service area are not
That-
first responder districts.
That's what I'm trying to sort out here.
So that's just how it's been defined. A first responder district includes the fire service area and the law enforcement area. So they've just been lumped in to call a first responder district.
Okay.
This is a bill that we have been discussing with the Special District Association for years, noting that municipalities have always had an ability to remove their property from a service area, but a county has not. So this at least puts us on equal footing, but as Kara indicated, it does nothing to solve the issue that we have looming over the Slovisa law enforcement service area. It's a cumbersome process, and I don't think that Salt Lake County would be able to satisfy the rigors of the statute, but at least having the lever is better than having none at all.
Okay.
So we should probably support, but just know it's not the
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah, I would move to support.
Okay, we have a motion to support. Councilman Johnson. Do I hear a second? Second by Councilwoman Pinckney. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay,
Okay, these next two, I also am phoning in a friend. House Bill 193, transgender medical procedure amendments, and House Bill 258, insurance coverage amendments. I will tell you, 193 failed in committee probably last Thursday, so I don't know if that one's moving forward. And then 258 is circled on the Senate floor. And so Sharon's here to talk about how it would impact our insurance.
Thank you, Kara. So I had a chance to connect with both of our insurance carriers, both PEHP and Select Health. PEHP is watching this closely, as you can imagine, since that is their business across the state. They also did some financial analysis to try to understand what that impact would be. So I see a couple of issues. One is for us, because we currently provide this coverage under both of our plans, it would be a takeaway, right? So it means that we would be removing some coverage that we currently provide. So as I think of that, one of the things I do when I look at plans and options and benefits packages, right, is to make sure that we either are at market or even above market so that we can best recruit and retain our talented staff. So that would be a takeaway. The second bill, they go hand in hand. The second bill says if you did provide coverage like we do, now you have to provide coverage for what they call detransitioning, right? So if somebody decided they transitioned and wanted to transition back, that we would have to provide coverage for that. Both of the carriers said that had never happened. They have not seen that happen. So, we don't know what the impact would be from that. PHP did some financial analysis. So in providing detransitioning services, their best guess is that it would cost less than a penny per member per month. So really, because they don't really have any data, they don't know what that would look like. And then on House Bill 193, where it takes away the coverage, that maybe would save 34 cents per member per month. That would translate to our plan to probably certainly less than $30,000 a year savings. So in a plan where we spend millions and millions on healthcare, it's a nit.
I don't have any questions for you, Sharon. I appreciate you letting us know the infinitesimally small amount of money that this would save us. But I want to be more specific and descriptive about what we're talking about. Right now, we currently provide transition care for our trans members who are our employees. And I think it's important that the people that work for us know that we support them because trans care is healthcare and because trans individuals deserve to live the identity that they are in. And we should not gainsay that. We should not do anything that questions the identity that they have, because trans members are just members of our community like everyone else. And the fact that we are targeting a set of individuals and trying to prevent us from providing that care, I don't think is a good use of our time, nor is it a good use of our legislative resources. But I just want to get us away from the idea that it's okay to use this community as a political football, because these are real lives we're talking about. And it's not just about the dollars and cents. It's not about the fact that we could save money if we were to vote in favor of this. It's not about the fact that we would save dollars here or there. It's about the fact that this is service for people to live their lives. And it's a good thing that we provide it. I think it's market standard that most people provide transition services for trans members who are in their workforce. But it's important for the employees who are listening to this conversation right now and who decide they may want to work for us to know that members of this council and this government are going to stand with them so that they can live their lives and so that they can work being who they are. So I know that 193 is already dead. My understanding is 258 is circled. Regardless, Kara, I would make a motion that we oppose these, and I imagine these will be coming up in the future, and I imagine we're going to have this same conversation again. And it's important that we keep reiterating to this community that we care about them, that they are our community, and that we will stand up for them. So I'd move to oppose these two bills.
Second.
That's 258 right below.
Oh, it's.
Yeah. They're sort of a package group.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Johnson, a second by Councilman Pinckney. Is there any
Can I make a
further-
substitute motion?
Yeah, go ahead, Laurie.
I mean, we monitor this right now. I know that there's some language changes that are looking at, and I know that there are some things that are happening. I just kind of rather watch to see how the language filters out from this before we get opposition or support, and kind of give a chance for those who are working with this to continue working with the sponsor.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilwoman Stringham. Is there a second? That's a substitute motion. Second from Councilman Moreno. We'll go ahead and vote on this. This is on the substitute motion that was just made by Councilwoman Stringham to monitor these bills. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I think we're gonna need to do a roll call on this. Do you mind, Amy? Thanks.
Okay. Councilmember Harrison?
No.
Councilmember Johnson?
No.
Councilmember Moreno?
Aye.
Councilmember Pinckney?
No.
Councilmember Romero?
No.
Councilmember Stringham?
Yes.
Councilmember Theodore? Councilmember Wonder Newton?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, so it fails 4-4. So we go back to the original motion, which is to oppose these bills. Let's do a roll call.
Councilmember Harrison?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Moreno?
Yay.
Councilmember Pinckney? Councilmember Romero?
Aye.
Councilmember Stringham?
No.
Councilmember Theodore?
I didn't get that, Dee. Can you say that again, please?
No.
Thanks.
Councilmember Wonder Newton?
No. So that fails too. So I guess we're monitoring. Okay.
We'll stay in neutral.
If they're still working on language, I think that's a fair
we'll see
thing,
what
but keep us
happens.
posted because
What
I
happens
hear what
next
you're
week.
saying. Like we've got to make sure we're, yeah.
Okay, so this next one, Senate Bill 281, Senior Nutrition Private Donation Incentives. This is changing the funding formula for Meals on Wheels, and I have Paul from Aging to come and explain why this is a problem. This will be taken, there'll be a vote at UAC on Thursday, so I want to make sure everyone heard the background on it.
Okay, good afternoon, council members. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this bill, and it's been through a couple of different iterations. So this is Senator Stratton from Utah County, is making some proposals to change how future Meals on Wheels funding is distributed across the state. The funding formula to support those programs statewide, and we're just talking the state portion of this program, has been long established, has been in place for several decades, and is really based on the population and the percent of that population that are older adults. This bill would change that to be focused on distributing funds based on the length of a wait list for the program, as well as the ability of the Area Agency on Aging to raise private funding through a 501c3. So there are a couple of concerns that we have with that. One is that Salt Lake County does not have a waiting list for Meals on Wheels, primarily due to the support of the funding from Salt Lake County, as well as our own internal efficiencies. As you know, over the past few years, we have prioritized Meals on Wheels above everything else that we do at Aging Services. We've made cuts to our senior center programming. We've cut our foster grandparent program, our senior companion program, all to ensure that we are able to meet the need with Meals on Wheels. So part of me feels like this bill would incentivize creating a waitlist. Secondarily, of the 12 area agencies on aging across the state, only one has an active 501c3 that they are using to raise funding, and that is in Utah County. All of the other area agencies on aging, 2 of them have a 501c3 that is inactive, and the rest do not have a 501c3. So while I appreciate the changes that have been made to this bill, and Senator Stratton's team have been very responsive in hearing some of the concerns, this really positions future funding to be at the whim of whether it goes with the existing funding formula, which 11 of the 12 support, or this new funding formula, which only 1 of the 12 area agencies on aging would support.
Great. Okay, council?
I think this is really concerning. I think it will ultimately end up in counties being disincentivized to prioritize funding for vulnerable seniors, and it will hurt seniors here in our county where we've made other sacrifices to fund nutrition programs. So I think it's important that we oppose this, and I make that motion.
Okay.
A second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Harrison, a second by Councilman Johnson to oppose this. Is there any further discussion?
Ask a couple questions.
Please.
I guess I'm trying to understand. It sounds to me like what we're trying to do is get additional funding into these programs. Did I misunderstand that?
I think there is a perspective where this fund would be created, and potentially future state funding could go into this fund to then be distributed by the existing, by this new funding formula. The concern is that we already struggle to secure new funding for Meals on Wheels, and the funding formula that we already have works. This wouldn't be an over and above new funding. This would be where the funding, any new funding would live. So for example, currently the deficit for nutrition programs across the state is about $4.1 million. There is a request in the governor's budget of $1.7 million of new funding for this year. So even if that were met this year, we still are facing a $2.4 million deficit in future years. So instead of that money then potentially just going out to the area agencies on aging in the way that it has for decades, it would now go into this pot and be distributed in a different way.
Oh, sorry. Did you have more, Councilmember Stringham? Sorry.
I did. Sorry.
I will hold my questions. I'm sorry.
And I guess my question is what is the chance of this passing? This might be a Kara question. And is there a chance that this could just fly through? Because we know that all of the tax type things and all the shifting of where money's coming from seems to be a priority of this legislative season. Are we in a bad situation where if we oppose this, we won't be able to work with the sponsor and it's going to get passed without any input? Or, I mean, help me understand where we're at on this bill.
I would recommend based on Paul's explanation, that we should oppose and that we should work through UAC on Thursday, because as 11 out of the agencies support the existing funding, and this is basically Utah County.
Right.
So I would recommend we oppose.
Yeah, okay. Laurie, do you have any other questions?
No, that helps clarify it for me. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions or comments? I mean, I think it's hard because it looks like it's oh, how great, we're providing this incentive to get private donations. But I see your point, Paul, like if this becomes this unstable funding source, that can be a problem. Although if they don't fund what we need to, it would have been a great thing, right? To at least have that. So we'll tell them to visit the county's foundation if they want to donate, I guess. I don't know.
That's what it's there for.
Okay, well, we have a motion on the table to oppose, and we'll go ahead and take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thanks.
Okay, and then as many of you that can participate on Thursday, I think it's pretty important at the UAC Legislative Committee.
This will probably be our last one too, right?
Yeah, I
We usually
mean,
don't
that
do
will
one
matter.
last week of the sessions.
Let's hope things are resolved by a week from Thursday.
Moving slow, actually.
Okay, Senate Bill 115, this is a new bill, Child and Animal Abuse Cross-Reporting Amendments. Bob Lewis should be on from Animal Services.
Yeah, I'm here. Apparently my camera's not working. So SB 115, it does a couple of things. It strengthens coordination between child welfare and animal control agencies by providing cross-reporting requirements. The bill requires courts to report certain animal abuse convictions to the Division of Child and Family Services, DCFS. It allows animal control agencies, authorities, and DCFS offices to create a collaboration agreement. It clarifies that DCFS caseworkers may report suspected animal abuse or neglect, and it prohibits employers from preventing or retaliating against employees who make such reports. So in essence, the bill enhances both the safety of children and animal by providing information which is widely supported by social services and public safety agencies. So on that, Animal Services is in support of this, and we're asking that the council consider supporting this bill as well.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Moreno to support. We have a second by Councilman Johnson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. We have one in opposition, but we'll go ahead and be supporting that. Thanks.
Okay, and so we're close to your time certain. I don't know that we need to change positions on any other bills. They're in flux, or we're in the right position. Still watching House Bill 429 as that moves forward. It's in the Senate. Other priority bills. We're working on House Bill 445, county government land purchasing with Representative Strong. We need to continue to oppose that. All the voter approval of property taxes, those bills aren't moving forward. We're waiting for Senator McKay's Senate Bill 97 to see where that lands. Also his circuit breaker bill. We're waiting to see that third substitute come out.
And can I give an update on that really quick?
Yeah, that'd
'Cause
be
I
great.
was in a meeting with him yesterday and I happened to bring it up, and they are working really well on doing what we asked. So they're working on a deferral program, and I made sure that I said, you're going to let there be 100% deferral under certain income levels. And he said, yes. It was even higher than what you had suggested, Suzanne. I think they're still going to have where if you decide to do an abatement program, you'll have to have it on your property tax, which I'm totally fine with the transparency piece there. And then still giving the county authority to make decisions on that. So I actually think this could turn out pretty good. So
our positions work with sponsor, and we'll see what happens next week. And then constables is moving forward. It's circled on the 3rd, but they need some small tweaks.
we're going to throw a party for Mitch.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure Mitch knew it's not slowing down to die.
Bring you balloons or something, a cake.
Okay, so that's all I have.
Thanks, Kara. We know this is a lot of work for you to be up there and and coordinate all of this, and you do a great job, so we sure appreciate you. So thanks. Okay, we have our time certain at 3:30, and so we're going to go ahead and go to that. It's our informational presentation on the upcoming library construction projects, and so we'll turn the time over to Robin Shalhoub, the Director of the Community Services Department, and I'll just let you introduce anybody else who's going to be up here with you.
That's I intend to. Thank you so much. We're so excited to be here. So as you said, we are here to present on the upcoming library projects and show great appreciation for the council's support with the budget adjustments earlier on in the agenda. I think you all agree that our library is a beloved institution by our residents, well-loved, well-used by all of our residents. And these projects are a long time coming. In particular, maybe West Valley, it's been about a decade that we've been working on it, and we're so excited to be able to get these into the community and create new facilities for these cities. I want to acknowledge we do have a lot of amazing support here today. Not only do we have board members, we have the leadership team from the library, staff, city representatives, and other stakeholders whom Joey will introduce you to. So we are so excited to get these buildings out into the community. We want to really provide a welcoming community space for our residents, and they're looking for that as a third place for people to come and gather and connect. So I'm going to turn it over. I recognize we have a short amount of time and we have a lot of exciting information to share. So I'm Joey McNamee, the library director, will be presenting to you an overview of the projects that you approved earlier this morning, or earlier in the agenda to fund.
Lauren, is this my clicker? Here we go. Down? Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time, and thank you for your support earlier in the meeting when you voted to support the budget requests for these projects. We are delighted to be here with you to talk about the planned construction we have coming. And as Robin mentioned, I want to take a quick minute to have our board members give a wave. Thank you so much. Thank you, board members, for being here. Our board members are so busy. Yes, thank you, Councilmember Pinckney, too. And they came out because they're excited to share this exciting set of projects with you. And certainly to our library team, who have done a ton of work preparing for this and helping to be ready for these. And the mayor's office for their guidance, as well as our partners internally, the Office of Real Estate, County Facilities. We have a lot of support as we move forward, which is good news. You'll see why. Additionally, we have some partners who are going to be joining me in the presentation. So if you guys want to give us a wave, we have Jonathan Springmeyer from West Valley City, Michael Scolmiero, and I'm so sorry, Evelyn Cisneros-Legate from Ballet West will be coming up after I finish the slides here. So without further ado, the library is we have some 2025 highlights for you. We have 18 full-service branches throughout Salt Lake County, and we have 952 visitors coming in every hour that we're open. That is, if you spread it out evenly, which it does not spread out evenly, but if you did, it would be 50 visitors to each of our branches every single hour that we're open. So we are bustling community centers and thrilled to have people coming in for programs, create space appointments, meeting rooms, and certainly to check out our collections, either coming in person or online. We check out 13 million items annually, which puts us at the 12th highest circulating library in the country and the 5th for children's materials. There are over 9,000 libraries, so we're doing pretty well. We have several projects, and as Council Member Winder Newton mentioned, these have been in the works for a long time. We have our West Valley branch rebuild, which we're particularly excited to talk to you about today because this is something we haven't had a chance to talk about in this forum. We have an update on our Library Operations Center remodel. We have some capital maintenance necessary at our Sandy branch, and then of course an update on the Midvale branch construction, and you approved the purchase of that property this past October. All of these projects were identified in our 2022 long-range plan, and I'll talk a little bit later in the presentation about why that's significant. So first up, and as I mentioned, what we're so excited to talk about today is our West Valley branch rebuild. So we will be rebuilding at our current location, and we will be doing so in partnership with local nonprofit Ballet West. They're going to be setting up a Ballet West Academy in the area, and so we will have a large, beautiful 22,000 to 25,000 square foot library, on the ground floor with rehearsal space and studios upstairs, and then we'll be sharing a black box theater, and that's going to create a really interesting opportunity for us to program that space at the library, as well as provide a much needed performance space for Ballet West, as well as other community partners in the area. So this is expected to be a $40 million project, $30 million of which will be bond funded, and $10 million of which will be contributed by the ballet. And just to be clear, the library fund will only be going to support the construction of the library portion of this building. We are a restricted fund and therefore cannot use our funds for any other activities except for library related. And then we'll be prorating the costs for those shared spaces. So we are thrilled to be providing this multi-use facility to the residents of West Valley and the surrounding neighborhoods. They've been waiting a long time for a library, and we're going to give them something really special. Next up, we have our Library Operations Center, and this is a project that's been in the works for a while. I say that, that's the third time I've said that so far. All of these have been in the works. I'll try to keep it under wraps. And so the Operations Center, as we got into the building, we have identified that there are some additional concerns we need to address, specifically seismic retrofitting, some ADA accommodations, and some additional considerations to make the space sort of future-proof, some investments that we can make now that will save considerable funding in the future as our system grows. So we are requesting a budget increase for this project, or I guess have requested a budget increase for this project, but have found savings across our other projects to be able to cover this. The next project that we have is Sandy. And Sandy is our busiest branch, and the roof is leaking. So we need to address that. It's leaking at our HVAC access points, and so we're going to need to do a project to get a new roof and a new HVAC system, and that is actually a big project that will require an architectural study, and we expect that to be about $2.5 million. As you can see, the request is for $4 million, and so we plan to use the balance of the funding to give Sandy a little bit of a facelift. It needs some better lighting, some new carpet, and a few other changes that will improve the flow for both our patrons and staff. So we're excited to make sure that we're making good use of that capital maintenance time to take care of our Sandy branch and continue serving the residents of that city. Our final project is our Midvale branch, and this is probably familiar because in October you approved the purchase of land from Midvale City for this location, and we are so excited about building in the heart of Midvale, right there in Midvale City Park, where there's a Boys and Girls Club right there. There is the park itself, as well as a city building there that is a little museum and meeting house, along with an amphitheater. So this is really going to create a new addition to the campus there in that community without, and this is critical, interfering with the opportunities to use that green space, how the community really loves to. So we are looking for new market tax credit. We're pursuing new market tax credit funding for this project. That process is in the works. And we expect the new market tax credit to cover about $15 million of the project and then other loans to get us the balance of the construction. Whew, so how did we get here? Well, you might not know this, but these projects have been in the works for a while. Thank you. In 2022, the council approved for the library a tax increase, and that tax increase covered several things, including some debt payment for previous construction, inflation, the cost of doing business, as well as compensating for the what do we call it? Downward bias of tax revenue. Thank you. And so you recognize my hand signals. The downward bias of tax revenue, but as part of that conversation, we identified through our long-range plan the next set of buildings that we would need to be working on. This is that next set of buildings, except for Whitmore in Cottonwood Heights. And fear not, we'll be back in a year or two to talk about Whitmore, but there are some other things that we need to do first before we're ready to get started on that project. So in 2022 through 2024, we worked closely with our community partners to identify the right locations for these branches, the right partnerships for these branches, to figure out how to move forward. We are serving communities, and we feel like it's important to hear from our communities as we're getting ready to move branches into those spaces. In 2025, and we purchased the warehouse. Additionally, in 2024, council improved our reimbursement resolution. This says it was in 2025, but it was actually in December of 2024, and time feels slippery sometimes. But that reimbursement resolution gave us permission to start spending our fund balance money on these projects with the expectation that we would then bond within 18 months to reimburse our fund balance, then of course secure additional funding for those projects. So that is where we are now, here in 2026, requesting the budget adjustments to continue working on those projects, preparing to close on the bond in June so we can initiate the design of these buildings. Quick funding overview, and Hua explained this earlier, so I won't stay on this point for too long, but essentially we have the bond where we're planning to put our Sandy, Library Operations Center, and West Valley branch projects, as well as a balloon payment for the Kearns branch. And the Kearns branch was funded with New Market Tax Credit funding, and so at the end of that, there's a balloon payment that we're wrapping up into this bond. We're also, as I mentioned, looking at New Market Tax Credit for our Midvale branch. The library maintains a robust and in-depth long-range plan that looks years and years out in front of us. And there are many reasons that we do that. One of them is so that when we come to you and we are asking for a significant investment in the delivery, the services that we're going to be able to provide to the public, that we can tell you with confidence how that's going to impact our fund balance, how that's going to affect our operations, and how that will affect a future need for additional revenue. And so related to that, we want to make sure that you're aware with these additional projects, we will be coming back to you with requests for opening day collection costs. New branches need new materials. Ongoing operations and maintenance. Bigger buildings are going to be more expensive for us to maintain over time. And additional FTEs to ensure that our branches are clean, safe, and welcoming for all Salt Lake County residents. So next steps for the library, we've received approval on the budget adjustments, so thank you again for your approval there. And I know that you have a vote after this on the parameters resolution, which is a key step in securing the bond for these projects, which means that the library is going to get hopping. We've actually already been hopping to get ready for RFPs to go out to architects to start working on the programming. And I mentioned this earlier in the presentation, but I think it bears repeating that community engagement is a key piece of what we do when we are designing libraries. We have robust and ongoing community engagement efforts because we are here to serve the public, and we think the most effective way to do that is to hear from the public. So we'll be including that in our programming phases. Then we move into more in-depth building design and construction. This slide makes it seem quick. It isn't, but in a couple of years, when we have completed the construction, we'll come back and invite you to celebrations in honor of our new wonderful facilities for the residents of Salt Lake County. So if you don't have any questions for me, I would love to invite our community partners up to talk quickly about what makes this, oh, go ahead, council member.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to interrupt your sentence. You can finish your sentence.
I can't
You're
wait to
inviting them up.
I'm
to
inviting my,
help you. Okay, really quick. So I know the new market tax credit isn't a for sure. Do you want to talk a little bit about what happens if that does not go through for Midvale?
Yes, it is not a for sure, but it is we're feeling really good about it.
Okay.
And we've been working closely with the new market tax credit partners to ensure that we've got that process underway. If not, we'll pivot to bond funding, and we have created our long-range plan where we play out a variety of different scenarios. We have made sure that if we end up having to pivot to a bond, that we can continue to cover the costs without it being a significant risk to our sort of long-term planning.
Okay, great. Thanks. Any other questions? Okay.
Michael, do you want to come on up? I'm thrilled and honored to introduce Michael Scalmiero of the.
Joey?
Oh, yes.
Could I clarify just one quick question or one quick comment? I noticed on the slide, I think there was an accident about how much the new market tax credit would generate. It accidentally says 15 million and it's more around the $3 to $5 million range. Just on your slide, I noticed that.
Oh, okay. We were expecting, let me clarify. We're expecting about $3 million in savings, 3 to 5 from the new market tax credit. The $15 million is the new market tax credit allocation that would fund the project. So we're expecting $15 million of a $28 million project to be funded through new market tax credit.
And Law made that note earlier. She said it was 2 to 3 million.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure there was no confusion on what that meant.
Our aim is transparency. So thank you. We're happy to have that clarification.
Right, so of the $28 million project, excuse me, this is Darren, $3 to $5 million will be net funded by the transaction, even though there's $15 million of allocation. Sorry, I got a dog going with me. And so thanks, Aaron, for clarifying that.
Darren, I hope you're doing okay. You sound like you're under the weather.
He has a dog in his house and a frog in his throat.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, thanks, Aaron. Appreciate that.
You bet. Thanks, Darren.
Okay, it's real this time. Come on up.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Scolomiro, and I am the Executive Director of Ballet West. I am honored to be here today and share with you how excited I am about the potential partnership between Ballet West, Salt Lake County, and the Salt Lake County Library. Ballet West operates the Frederick Quinny Lawson Ballet West Academy, one of the nation's largest training academies with more than 850 students enrolled between August and May, and an additional 550 students from throughout the country enrolled in our summer intensive programs. Additionally, more than 400 adult students participate in adult ballet classes at one of our 4 campuses throughout Utah, 2 of which are in Salt Lake County, downtown at the Jesse Eccles Quinney Ballet Center and Trolley Corners. With a growing community, Ballet West has a goal of broadening access to dance education for future generations of dancers. Ballet West identified West Valley City as an ideal location for a new campus, with a Central Valley location that would allow us to better serve our West and Southwest constituents and offer a unique opportunity to provide access to Ballet West's highly regarded dance training. With funding from the Utah Legislature and a partnership with West Valley City, Ballet West retained the services of Method Studios to undertake a comprehensive feasibility study. Using community-centered outreach, surveys, and in-person events, recommendations were presented to a steering committee formed specifically to assist Ballet West in identifying the top 5 sites for consideration based on overall community survey scores, site challenges, centrality to West Valley City and overall accessibility, proximity to major transportation corridors, interest from county, city, and state partners, among other critical criteria. The West Valley City Library site held great interest among the steering committee, but at the time the study was conducted, it was taken off the list as being unavailable. Upon learning Salt Lake County Library had chosen the existing site of the West Valley Library to build a new facility, Ballet West and West Valley City reached out to Salt Lake County and the library system to explore their interest in a collaboration that would combine both projects on one site, which brings us to today. Method worked with us to understand how we could integrate our programming with Salt Lake County Library should the partnership come together. Ballet West is honored to have a strong and ongoing relationship with Salt Lake County as a long-standing tenant at the Jesse Eccles Quinney Ballet Center and the Janet Quinney Lawson Capitol Theater. A collaboration among 2 partners who already enjoy a history of success is a strong indicator of the future success of this project. Upon completion of our new campus will serve the entire Southwest Valley, opening untold possibilities and access to communities currently without access to the performing arts and dance in particular. A key component of this project is a flexible black box performance space that will provide programming opportunities for our academy, for Salt Lake County Library, and for dance, theater, music, and community groups currently without homes of their own. Working with Salt Lake County to move this forward and create designs, we are confident the addition of another campus for the Frederick Quinny Lawson Ballet West Academy will benefit thousands of Salt Lake County residents on the west and southeast side of the valley, providing families with a safe, central location at which to participate in activities that enrich the lives of children and adults alike. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the director of the Frederick Quinny Lawson Ballet West Academy, Evelyn Cisneros-Legate.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you to the county council members for your time today. I've dedicated my life to sharing the ballet art form. I had the opportunity to dance with San Francisco Ballet for 23 years and then continued to go on to do outreach in the community with the San Francisco Library Community Centers for the following 7 years. I continued my teaching experience with the Boston Ballet School and National Dance Institute before coming to the Frederick Quinny Lawson Ballet West Academy 6 years ago. I only share this information with you so you can see my lifelong passion and commitment to the art form. At Ballet West Academy, with one of my faculty members who has a master's degree from Harvard in early childhood development, we created a curriculum that combines the classical ballet technique with the cognitive, emotional, and physical development of children. This is a first in our industry, and we're training children with a positive reinforcement and introducing technique when they're able to absorb fully and understand what is being requested of them. Through their training, up to our 900 plus students ages 3 to adults, they're all developing greater self-esteem, confidence, balance, coordination, the ability to focus on tasks to completion, how to work respectfully with others, understanding musical rhythms, and enjoying successful live performances, presentations. It's been widely accepted that children who study dance are more successful academically in school. In today's world, I've seen a youth who are emotionally fragile and in desperate need of reassurance of their future and emotional support. Through our dance training, we're providing hope for them and opening doors they never knew existed. These doors can lead to all kinds of careers, from costuming, stage crew, set designs, teaching, and of course, as a profession in the dance industry. We have the privilege of having a professional ballet company here for our students to observe and for inspiration. Our presence in West Valley will provide a greater opportunity for the community to share in the love of dance close to home. We can become a center for bringing the community together with a black box theater. We can become a safe and welcoming place to present and see performances in that area. I'm looking forward to continuing our strong relationship with the county. It's my passion to further the ballet art form, and I know that this vehicle can be a lifeline to children. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
And last but not least, a familiar face, I'm sure, to some of you, the Director of Economic Development from West Valley City, Jonathan Springmeyer.
Hello.
Hello. Nice.
Well, this isn't going in a mall and it's not going under housing. Like we've run the gamut, haven't we?
We have explored all possibilities, and I'm thankful to say I believe we have landed on the right one. So on behalf of West Valley City Mayor Karen Lang and our city administration, I'm pleased to express our strong support for this proposed new library and Valley West facility. As introduced, my name is Jonathan Springmeyer, and I am the Economic Development Director for West Valley City. Also like to thank and acknowledge the hard work of Joey and Robin throughout this, as she said, long process. I've been with the city for almost 10 years, and this was on our docket when I started. And we've been working with Ballet West for at least 2 years. So merging these two things checks two things off of my to-do list, which is fantastic. This investment represents something powerful, commitment both to learning and the arts in the heart of our community. Modern Library is more than a collection of books. It's a cornerstone of opportunity, providing early literacy programs, workforce development resources, digital access, language learning, and safe after-school spaces. For many of our residents, it's the only access to these resources. Pairing that with a Ballet West facility brings another essential dimension to community life: arts, culture, and creative expression. Dance has the ability to inspire, to unite, and to reflect the diversity and vibrancy of West Valley City. Providing space for performance, training, and outreach programming expands access to the arts and creates meaningful opportunities for young people and families, not to mention them being the preeminent ballet company in the United States. Together, these facilities strengthen the Fairborn area as a regional destination and reinforces our ongoing revitalization efforts. Investments in education and the arts are also investments in economic development. They attract visitors, support local businesses, enhance quality of life, and signal confidence in the future of our community. West Valley City appreciates the county's partnership and visioning in advancing this proposal. We stand ready to support this effort and ensure it becomes a lasting asset for residents across Salt Lake County. Thank you for your leadership, your commitment to creating spaces where our communities can learn and grow and thrive. Thank you.
I guess I'm the closer. I just want to thank you again for your support and thank you for all this great partnership. We're really excited to get going on this construction and get these services to the community. So unless you have any other questions, I think we're done.
Okay, any other questions? Please.
Hello. Okay, thank you. This is exciting. I'm Carlos Moreno from District 2. Part of my district is West Valley, and this is happening in my district in West Valley. It's amazing. And thank you for all the hard work. Thank you for being more than a decade having this project in place. And I'm super excited for you guys. And art for me is something special. I originally, maybe many people know about me, but I came from Venezuela, and the first thing that dictators and people take away is art and libraries and knowledge. And for me, it's super special that you are doing this in a city that I really love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're really excited about it too. Thank you, council member.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All right.
Madam
Please.
Chair, this is Ross.
Please, yes, hi.
Hi, I just wanted to thank Jonathan Springmeyer. I had a chance to visit with him about this project and other events in West Valley and appreciated the leadership he's bringing and the momentum the city has. Also to really recognize how important it is to have Ballet West in West Valley. I think it's a great accomplishment. It'll allow opportunities for many engagements there and look forward to it. So really, really glad to support this effort.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Councilman.
Awesome. Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I wanted to quickly say I'm very excited about this. As many of you know, my background is in the arts, especially in the technical side of it. And I was really excited to hear about the ability to do some training and those types of things in the technical side. Our libraries are a resource center. They're not just about books anymore. It's about training people into new crafts, new things, having workspaces and being able to help people go to the next level, whatever it is that they want to learn and do. And so it's really exciting to see the arts part of that process and it actually makes sense to do that as well. So I'm excited about the training program. I know they were talking about happy to see that happening. So kudos.
Okay, thanks, Councilwoman. All right, we're going to go ahead to item 9.1, and we'll turn the time over to Craig Wainsgard, Senior Civil Attorney, to talk about the resolution of the MBA. This helps fund the library. Go ahead.
This resolution just directs the MBA to issue up to $65 million of lease revenue bonds for certain library projects. The actual parameters resolution will be contemplated by the board in the subsequent meeting. Any questions?
Oh, and we'll see you back in a little bit once we're done with this agenda. So.
We do need to vote on this resolution.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thanks. We have a motion by Councilwoman Pinckney, a second by Councilman Johnson to approve item 9.1. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Thanks, Craig. All right, now we're going to go to item 9.2, and we will have our esteemed Salt Lake County Surveyor, Bradley Park, come forward. And will we have Jason Rose? Yes, Jason Rose, Senior Civil Attorney.
Thank you, Council. So just second reading of the ordinance changed. Nothing's changed from the last time we looked at it 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there anyone who would like to make a motion on this?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Harrison and a second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thanks. All right. Item 10, other items requiring council approval. I don't see anything. So we'll move to item 11.1. And before we do, I just want to recognize Cottonwood Heights City Councilman Sean Newell. We appreciate you being here, Councilman. One of my favorites. Don't tell anybody I said that.
It's on record now.
Dang it, I just announced it. That's okay. Okay, we are going to go to 11.1, reading of a joint proclamation of the council, and we will turn the time over to Councilwoman Pinckney, and we'll let her start out.
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Chair. It is Black History Month, and this is a very important Black History Month overall. Black History Month was actually founded in 1926, so this is the 100th year of Black History Month on the 250th year of America. I feel like I've probably submitted the longest proclamation ever. I don't know if that's true or not.
I was thinking that, actually.
Yeah, so we'll have to fact check. It's about 3 pages long. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I do want to summarize it because every part of this is important. Like I stated, Black History Month was started by Dr. Carter G. Woodson in 1926. It was established as Negro History Week. And it was really about the stories of African ancestred people. And it's really to make sure that we honor the survivors of the institution of chattel slavery, whose resistance, labor, creativity, and vision built the foundations of our nation. A lot of times people don't really know there is a rich history for Black history in Utah, and that is what I want to be able to share today, because there is a rich history of Black people in Utah and in the Mountain West, not just as a footnote, but as a living documented legacy of survival, resiliency, and community building. The history of Utah cannot be told honestly without confronting the present chattel slavery in the Utah Territory. Black enslaved people arrived in the Salt Lake Valley beginning in 1847, and on February 4th, 1852, the Territory legislature passed an act in relation to service that legally recognized the enslavement of Black people in the Great Basin, making Utah the only Western territory where African American enslavement was protected by territory statute, a legal framework that will remain in place in Congress until the abolishment of slavery in all U.S. territories. We recognize that enslaved Black people in the Utah Territory, men, women, and children, were brought here without consent. We're not abstractions of our history, but we're human beings with names, stories, and suffering deserves to be known. Like some of our enslaved women, like Betsy Brown, Flu Ellen, and Nancy Lyons, who lived out their lives in Utah's earliest community. We also want to acknowledge the deep history of the Buffalo Soldiers. The Buffalo Soldiers were an all-Black regiment of the United States Army established by Congress in 1866. The soldiers fought for the end of the Civil War and to preserve the Union, and were also stationed here in Fort Douglas, approximately a decade later of their stationing in Fort Duchesne. Research has showed that the Buffalo Soldiers served across Utah responsible for patrolling the 9-mile canyon, maintaining telegraph lines, guarding communities throughout the region, and that their legacy is still preserved at Fort Douglas. I also want to acknowledge Betty Gilbetzi, a civil rights activist and daughter of the Union Pacific Railroad worker who moved her family to Utah. She graduated from Ogden High School at 15, earned her degrees from the University of Utah and Howard, and served as the equal employment opportunity at Hill Air Force Base for more than 40 years. She organized voter registration drives and dedicated her life to dismantling racial, economic, and gender equality in Utah. While Utah did not codify formal Jim Crow laws, Black Utahns were denied access to swimming pools, restaurants, hotels, lunch countertops, public speaking places throughout the state. That in Ogden, the NAACP members challenged segregated swimming pools, and in 1939, 1,000 Salt Lake residents petitioned the government to create a segregated Negro district, and that the KKK remained active and present in the Utah for all realities of systemic exclusions of Black Utahns, resisted, navigated, and survived with dignity and resolve. As we honor Nettie Grimes Gregory, a teacher and musician from Tennessee who moved to Salt Lake City, Poplar Grove neighborhood after the Ku Klux Klan threatened her husband and family, and who was recognizing that red line and discriminatory practice denied Black residents access to recreational facilities, spent more than 14 years organizing bake sales, fish fries throughout the clubs, Trinity AMC Church, and the Calvary Baptist Church to build a community for Black families. Utah Black and African American population has grown 55% since 2010, approximately 67 residents, of whom 52% live in Salt Lake City, a testament to the continued vitality and resistance of Black lives. Black Americans and Africans in the diaspora enrich Salt Lake County throughout art, scholarship, entrepreneurship, and civic leadership. As we acknowledge the generations of Black Utahns who overcame systemic barriers, including enslavement, redlining, Jim Crow era discrimination, and the suppression of Black history throughout extraordinary determination, forging paths of opportunity for families and communities, we commit to the ongoing work to preserve their legacy, amplify their voices, and ensure a full story of Black life in Utah. Together, we recognize all of our Black community and African diaspora in the Salt Lake County through February 1st to the 28th of 2026, declaring Black History Month for the state of Utah. We recognize the descendants of chattel slavery and also recognize the descendants who reside in Salt Lake County, and we'll make sure that we always celebrate our community to the enrichments of our history, the honesty of that history, and pledging to be a community worth of our legacy. And to join me in the continued celebration of Black History Month is an artist, a dear friend of mine, who will deliver spoken word. Please help me welcome Afia Chen.
Good afternoon, everyone. I really appreciate this amazing opportunity to share my work with all of you. This is a piece titled Magic. We don't need potions or brews to keep our youth. We've got it honest, beauty in multiple hues, and I don't know why they think it's out of the ordinary to be blessed with a bit of extra cells is extraordinary. Pulling tricks from our sleeve, deep thoughts are philosophy, and I think yes, I think very deeply. And I'm speaking to the spirits of our creation, variations in melanation, balancing the equation of society's current inadequacies. And though the issue was codified, don't deny colorized and colonized by written wit, the power originally in the pigment, flowing from our bodies to the pad, mistaken as a curse, so it was bound up in books meant to burn us at the stake, darkness likened to dark magic, and evil doesn't seem to equate. But likeness attached to perceptions of light seems easy to break. magical melanin, long-lasting proof of undeniable divinity. I'm grateful for the skin that I'm in because it's this whole planet's fertility. Thank you.
Thank you, Afia. And Afia also hosts an open mic night. I believe the next one's in April. So if you like spoken word for your communities and honoring your history, please join. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone for participating in this year's Black History Month. I'm continuously working to make sure we honor our community and appreciate everyone that celebrated with us. Thank you.
Natalie.
I was gonna say, I would like a picture with Afia and some Black Caucus members and whoever wants to join. I don't know when we want to do that, Madam Chair, so I know we have like a couple, like one
We'll
more
just spin it.
meeting.
Yeah, we do. First, I just want to say thank you for doing this. And we've got to figure out where we can put this declaration for people to read. The stories in this proclamation are incredible and just very touching. And so anyway, thank you for putting this together. And thanks to Councilwoman Stringham for being the second on this. And so
thank you, Lori.
we'll go to her first and then go to Councilman Moreno.
Okay, great. I wanted to take an opportunity really quickly to be able to just point out that, as Natalie said, Black History Month is not just Black History Month, it's Utah history. And it's the very basis of Utah history. Most people don't know that the first three people first three pioneers to put their foot on the ground in Salt Lake were three Black slaves, known as, there's three of them. There's Green Flake, there was Oscar Smith and Hark Wells, and they came into the valley and they started 2 days before the 24th. They came in on the 22nd and started digging those trenches that had to bring water down into the valley so that they could actually start plowing the fields and start getting the crops planted so that they could survive that very first winter here in Salt Lake. And the other incredible thing about that is they went back up to join everybody when they came into back to the area on the 23rd. And the reason why we celebrate the 24th is because the 23rd was a Sunday, so they worshiped. And then on the 24th, the rest of the camp and the rest of the group, including Brigham Young, came down into the valley. And so that was the first chance that the whole group made it into the valley. But they were the very first ones to get here on the 22nd. And I know we have commemorated that a number of times and grateful for them. The other thing I think that's really important to note that for many years after that, on the 24th of July, as they were celebrating, the pioneers would have Green Flake actually speak and talk about coming into the valley for the very first time. And so he was allowed to give some of that history, of his history, and some of that is recorded in different people who took notes on those celebrations. So it's important to know those things, which I think is awesome. And then, of course, we had Jane Elizabeth Manning James, who was the first free Black to come into the valley, and she brought her family with her, and she was also the first woman to come into the valley, Black woman to come into the valley. So those are just some really important parts of our pioneer history that most people don't know. So I appreciate all of the things that Natalie has brought forward. There's a lot of wonderful histories in which it's got, and I hope people take a chance to actually read through the whole proclamation. It's pretty incredible. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Go ahead, Councilman Moreno.
I just want to express my gratitude to Councilwoman Pinkney to putting this together. Beautiful. Thank you. And remind us the resiliency and the Black community it has been in Utah, and especially in the United States. In my life, I came from my great-grandmother is from Cameroon, from Africa, and she emigrated to Venezuela in the 50s. And that's why I'm very tied with the community, and thank you for putting this together.
I also want to recognize Joseph. Whoops, my mic's off. I also want to recognize Joseph Genda. Joseph is our new American and Refugee Liaison in the Mayor's Office, and I know you have done a lot of work on this. Do you have any comments that you want to share? Please.
Well, good afternoon, Madam Chair, council members, and all present. It is an honor to be here today and to represent Mayor Jenny Wilson and the Office for New Americans. Today, we recognize Black History Month, a time to honor the history, contributions, resilience, and achievements of Black Americans who have shaped our nation, strengthened our communities, and advanced the cause of justice and opportunity for all. I have lived in Salt Lake County for almost 19 years, and I chose to work and reside here because it is a welcoming community. In Salt Lake County, my family and I don't just feel like we belong. We know deep in our hearts that this is where we are meant to be. 2 years ago, during a similar Black History Month program, I was honored to be featured by the Salt Lake County Council as part of their recognition of Black Americans' contributions to our county, our state, and our nation. Contributions that started decades ago and will continue for generations to come. I'm grateful for the incredible honor and for the privilege of being a welcoming voice and a trusted resource for immigrants, refugees, and New Americans in Salt Lake County. For me, this work is personal. It is powerful because when we lift one another, we strengthen our entire community. Thank you all for your support and for uplifting other Black Americans and me in our shared pursuit of opportunity, dignity, and belonging. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." May we all strive to be a source of light and love in our communities. Together, we can ensure everyone who calls Salt Lake County home truly feels it. Thank you.
Amen to that. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here for this presentation, and thanks again, Natalie, for doing this. We will go ahead and if you'll all hang tight for a minute, we're going to adjourn, and then we have one more meeting that's like 5 minutes. So hang tight, and then we'll do a picture after, okay? All right, so we will go ahead and adjourn our county council meeting. And when the clerk's ready, we will start our municipal building authority meeting. Good, okay. All right, welcome to the Salt Lake County Municipal Building Authority meeting for Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. We'll call this to order. Is there any public comment for the building authority? Seeing none, we'll move along to the approval of minutes. Item 3.1, is there a motion?
I move to approve the minutes. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Johnson, a second by Councilman Moreno. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
That passes unanimously. We'll go to our discussion item 4.1, consideration of a resolution of the Municipal Building Authority for the sale of up to $65 million of lease revenue bonds. Hi, Craig.
Long time.
Yeah.
This resolution is for the board to authorize up to $65 million of lease revenue bonds for certain library projects and to set 2 public hearings for March 17th at 6 p.m. Any questions?
Any questions? We need a motion for this.
Motion to approve?
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Pinckney, a second by Councilman Johnson. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. We'll go ahead and, seeing no other committee business, we'll go ahead and adjourn the Municipal Building Authority meeting. And we thank you all for being here. Councilwoman, what do you want to do as far as a photo?
I think red and black.
Up here? Okay, sounds great. Come on up, everyone.
I was gonna say, if you want us to stay on, we could turn on our camera so we could be on the screen behind you.
Step on, yeah, and I just step on one of them where it was the clerk that I think was supposed to sign. So these are